this is an old piece that I decided to rework. It's a demo from one of my old classes, and this is rust on Encaustic. So it was just kind of demonstrating some simple rust techniques, and so it was just kind of in my to redo pile to visit later to kind of work on, see how I could finish it. And it was back before I had really gotten into the habit of taping up the edges. So this is me kind of cleaning up the edges as a first step, getting all the wax strips off, and there weren't too many. I mean, this is just a couple layers of encaustic with a little bit of wax on it, so it wasn't built up too much. It didn't have too many wax strips, so I was able to clean it up pretty well and then add some tape to the edges. I wanted to make sure that the rust can get pretty powdery on the surface, and I had covered up a little bit with the wax, but not completely, so I just wanted to make sure I had fused it well. And as I brush the wax on to each layer, I try to be really careful because if you brush really hard, you can displace some of the rust layers, and I didn't want that to happen, so I'm trying to be really careful. So I decided to add some more depth, which is really one of the best things about working with encaustic is the depth that you can get with your paintings by adding lots and lots of layers. So I decided to kind of extend the rust and do a few more layers to kind of give it that 3D deep looking effect. And I have to apologize because I have a new camera setup that because I've been working on getting ready to do some live streams that are coming to my channel here pretty soon. But because of that, I have a brand new setup, and the camera, because of it, my camera's working a little bit differently, and I am not quite used to it yet, and I totally messed up some of the videos. I thought I pressed record and I hadn't. And so there were some things that I ended up recording that I didn't need, and a lot of things that I didn't end up recording that I needed. So a little bit later in the video, I've had to kind of skip around and missed showing you some things that I would have put in the video originally. So I apologize for that. Like this, I would have shown you a little bit of adding more wax to the top of the rust in a careful way to avoid brushing it away or getting streaks or anything like that. So I'm sorry. I'm going to get better at this setup so I don't make mistakes like that in the future. So this is a lot of liquid that I'm adding just to make sure I have this whole circle filled in, and just the circle. It took like 36 hours for it to dry completely, and that's actually with me soaking up a little bit of the vinegar solution with a paper towel so that it would dry just a little bit quicker. And I missed showing you adding the wax on top of that again, so I'm really sorry about that. And adding the India ink. I had cut out a circle the same size as the circle of rust that I added and splashed some India ink in there, but I had to cover it with paper to make sure I only got the splashes into that center circle. And then these are the Incise lines. I was inspired by one of the ladies in this class that I'm taking called Painting with Fire. She had created a piece that she shared with us on Facebook that was really beautiful. It was kind of a bit of a landscape with almost looked like long grass and weeds kind of growing on the sides, and it was really nice, very still kind of abstract, but it kind of inspired me. I was thinking of this what to do with this piece, and I thought, oh, that would be perfect to kind of show some orbits around a planet or something like that, some gravitational pulls. So I decided to use Incise Lines to kind of create that effect. So in keeping with the rust theme, I'm using some brown, shades of brown and raw umber to fill in the lines. And I'm always worried about rubbing the oil paint on top of the India ink that I have in the center. Whenever I do that, I'm worried I'm just going to rub it away, but it never happens, so I don't know why I worry about it. I guess it just seems counterintuitive to have something like dried ink on the surface and then add oil paint on top of it and just rub, 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 but it doesn't seem like it should stay, but it does. Now, I get a lot of questions whenever I have videos like this about what I use to wipe away the oil paint. And this is linseed oil. I use it because it's an evaporative oil. Evaporation is kind of the wrong word. It oxidizes off the surface. So for a lot of oils, they stay sticky on the surface, and you don't want to have a permanently tacky surface on your encaustic painting. And linseed oil is great because it doesn't stay sticky. It oxidizes and in other words, evaporates essentially and leaves the surface smooth and dry. And then you can kind of rub it and polish it later on after the oil paint and everything is dry. Not not very many oils do that, so that's why I use linseed oil to do it. It can take a while to get the excess oil paint off, especially when there's so many lines as there are here. And I decided to add a little bit of yellow just to kind of dress up the center a little bit, make it stand out a little bit more. But I still think it needs something. I've been thinking about adding some watch parts to kind of go with this kind of mechanical, steampunk, rusty kind of theme. Um, I haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking about it. I might try it. It would be kind of fun to add some metal parts into an encaustic painting. But anyway, let me know what you think. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. It's always nice to go back and revisit an old painting and find a way to make it really nice. And I really like the way this one turned out. So leave me your comments, suggestions, any questions that you have. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.